Synthetic division. Synthetic division is a shortcut to long division of polynomials. It can only be used when divisors are of the form x plus or minus a, which is some constant. If the coefficient of x is anything other than 1, you cannot use synthetic division. Go with long division. Synthetic division is set up with the divisor in the form of x minus c. So when we set up with our divisor, we're going to use the opposite sign of what we have here. If we have x minus 2, we're going to use positive 2 for our divisor. So we'll set this problem up in synthetic division. First, for our divisor, since it already has the minus 2, we will use positive 2. And our notation is a little different than long division. So we'll put a positive 2 here. You're going to take all of your coefficients. This problem is not missing any terms. If you're missing any, you need to put a 0 for that coefficient. So I'm going to take a 5 for the x cubed, a negative 13 for the x squared, a plus 10 for the x, and a minus 8 for the constant. You're going to skip a line and then draw. Right, you're going to bring your first one down below our line. Right, so you're going to multiply and then you're going to add back. So we're going to do 5 times 2 is 10. And then you will add, dealing with your signs, whatever they are. So this is going to be a negative 3. Then you're ready to multiply back again. Negative 3 times 2 gives a negative 6. Combine these. They're different signs, so that will give you a positive 4. Multiply back. 4 times 2 is 8. When you combine these, you get 0. This is your remainder, so there is no remainder. To put it back together, you're going to put each of these and you're going to drop 1 degree lower than you had in your dividend. So that was x cubed. You were going to go to x squared. So 5x squared minus 3x plus 4. This is the answer to the long division. If you want to check it, you can multiply these polynomials. I'll do that on the next screen. Your check for the long division is the quotient or the answer times the divisor. And we don't have a remainder to add back. So I'm going to do x minus 2 times this polynomial. So it's a binomial times a trinomial. I like to put the shorter one in front, or you can use a vertical format if you prefer. And so I'm going to take the x and distribute through everything. So x times 5x squared will be 5x cubed. X times minus 3x will be minus 3x squared. X times 4 will be plus 4x. And then switch and take the minus 2 times everything. So this will be a minus 10x squared plus 6x. You have 2 negatives there. And a minus 8. And then combine like terms. So there is no other x cubed term. Your x squared terms will go together like signs. Add, keep the sign. And keep your variable as it is. Your x terms, both positive, so they're going to add and stay positive. And your constant goes last. And this does match our dividend. For our next problem, we have x plus 2 for our divisor. So we will need to put in a negative 2, right, because it's the form x minus c. So negative 2 we will use. You still use your coefficients, so 3, negative 2, 6, negative 4. Skip a line and draw your line. You're going to bring down your first below that line, and you're going to multiply and add. So 3 times negative 2 will give us negative 6. We're going to add will give us negative 8. Multiply back will give you positive 16. 16 plus 6 will give us 22. Multiply back times negative 2 will give us negative 44. And that gives us negative 48. So this one has a remainder. We did not get 0 at the end. we will put the answer back together. So you have to drop 1 degree lower than you had. We had x to the third. So we will use 3x squared minus 8x plus 22 plus a negative 48 over your divisor, which is x plus 2. I'll do just one more check to show you how to deal with the remainder. So again, we will do our answer or our quotient times our divisor. So I'm going to put the x plus 2 first. And just the part of the quotient without the remainder. So 3x squared minus 8x plus 22. So we will distribute twice. X times 3x squared will give us a 3x cubed. X times minus 8x will be a minus 8x squared. X times 22 will be a plus 22x. Then we switch and distribute the 2. 2 times 3x squared will be 6x squared. 2 times negative 8x will be negative 16x. 2 times 22 will be a plus 44. Combine your like terms, so we have 3x cubed. All right, our x squared will give us a minus 2x squared. 22x minus 16 will give us a plus 6x. Right, plus 44, and then we have to add back our remainder, just this top portion, so a minus 48. And those two are going to combine to give our negative 4. So we do have 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x minus 4. So our problem is done correctly. I'm going to skip the third one on your template so the video doesn't get too long. And I will give you the answer. So you can pause it for a minute now and work it yourself, and I'll put the answer up. So here's your answer, x squared plus 5x plus 8, and it does have a remainder of 3 over x minus 1. I'm going to work out the fourth problem on your template because it has one piece that's different. So we can set up with our long division. We have x plus 1, so remember we use the opposite sign here. So we need to use minus 1. We'll take our coefficients. This polynomial is missing a term. It doesn't have an x squared term, so we have to put a 0 for that coefficient. So we have 4 for x cubed. We don't have an x squared, so we'll put a 0 for that coefficient. We do have an x term, and we have a constant. And then it will work like normal. Right, so bring down your first. Multiply and add. So 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Add will give us negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1 will give us positive 4. So will give us a negative 2. Negative 2 times 1 will give us a positive 2. And this will give us a negative 3. For our answer, we drop 1 degree lower. So we're going to have 4x squared minus 4x minus 2. This one has a remainder, negative 3 over x plus 1. Well, look at the fifth problem from your template, since it is actually missing 2 terms in the dividend. So we will set up, we're going to use a negative 3 since that's x plus 3. And we'll be very careful with our coefficient. So x to the fourth is the first one. Our coefficient there is a 1. Right, x to the third, we don't have an x to the third, so that will be a 0. X squared, we don't have an x squared, that will be a 0. We do have an x term and a constant. So this is x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and constant. So we're good there. Draw your line, skip your space. Right, bring your first one down. So multiply and add. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, plus 0 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9, plus 0 is 9. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. So we get a negative 30 here when we add. And negative 30 times negative 3 will give us a positive 90. And 90 minus 9 will give us an 81. Right, we're going to put it back together. We're going to drop 1 degree lower than what we had. So we're going to have 1x cubed minus 3x squared plus 9x minus 30, remainder of 81. So 81 goes back over your divisor, x plus 3. I'm going to do just one more problem from your template. The other two are just repeats of the skills we've had. So this one, the only difference is it's in vertical form. Your divisor is the denominator, and we are missing a term when we write this one out. So first of all, it is x minus 1, so we're going to use the opposite sign. We'll use a plus 1. And for our coefficients, we'll be careful because it is missing a plain x term. So we have 4 for the x cubed, minus 1 for the x squared, 0 for the plain x, and 13. Skip a line. Bring your first one down. Multiply and add. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. And this gives us 16. Now put it back together. We're going to drop 1 degree lower than we had. So x cubed, we will now have x squared. So 4x squared plus 3x plus 3, a remainder of 16. So plus 16 over x minus 1.